Welcome to Gambling with an Edge. And now, here are Bob and Richard.
Good afternoon. Welcome to Gambling with an Edge. I'm Bob Dancer.
And I'm Richard Munchkin.
Our guest today is a young man who would like us to call him the Millennial Gambler. And since we're now good friends with him, MG. He turned a bankroll of just over $250 to one of over $1 million. He's here today to tell us how he did that. Millennial Gambler, MG, welcome to Gambling with an Edge.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
Before we get into depth with MG, Richard came across a surefire way to beat the Pokies in Australia. I read the article, and it sounds foolproof to me. Richard, tell us about it.
Well, Pokies are like video poker machines. So the guy's foolproof method was, I guess in Australia you can bet 2 cents on a hand, and so he would insert his $5 bill, bet 2 cents on a hand, and then if he lost the hand, he has $4.98. He cashes out the ticket, but they have a law in Australia that the minimum payout is $5, or they round it off. I'm sorry, they round it off to the nearest 5 cents. So a $4.98 ticket gets rounded off to $5. So when he wins, he cashes out a small profit. When he loses, he earns his 2 cents back. So I just found the article funny. It's the right kind of advantage play thinking, but I think he should sort of set his sights a little higher than 2 cents a spin.
Well, I think it's going to be a great conversation for us today, because I'm going to talk about a lot of small wins, a lot of small percentages, and it does take a lot of time. So you have to look at it, especially when you have a small bankroll. Is it worth it for those 2 cents or 5 cents? Now, everybody's different, right? And everybody gets their thrill a certain way. So I think that's for the listeners and for us to decide what's best in our situation.
I'm wondering how frequently the bartenders are going to say, after the guy does it 2 times or 6 times or 8 times, go, come on, buddy, we're not doing this anymore for you. Wait till you have a lot of those and we'll cash them all out. But you're a pain in the ass, and we're not going to do it anymore.
Right. It reminds me of, people who go in and sit at a penny slot and bet, 1 penny when the cocktail waitress comes over just to get the free drinks. Now they're finding ways to circumvent that in the Las Vegas casino. So,
right, and I
anyway,
read the article, but I would assume he had a lot of $5 bills, so he probably didn't go to the ATM until he had a large stack. So it was really put $5 in. If he won, cash out. If he lost, cash out, and do all his $5 bills.
Oh, no, they don't have the machines the way we do here in the States.
Okay.
You have to go to a bartender who gives you the actual cash. So, yeah, I agree with Bob that the human interaction is going to get you stopped eventually.
And there's no room to tip. If you tip away half your profits of a penny each time you do it, you're still going to get kicked out. All right, let's get to Millennial Gambler. Why do you call yourself the Millennial Gambler?
Sure. Well, I'm at that age between 18 and 34, and obviously I'm over 21. But, I'm at that age where everybody's talking now about the millennials and how are we going to change and how are we going to change gambling and the life in Vegas. And I'm writing a book, and I'm writing it with 3 of my best friends, and we all are at different stages in our gambling lives and different stages in our careers and our bankrolls. And it really is a great story to show, throughout time, what our life has been since we first turned 21. And I'm excited to tell a little bit about that story and go into detail. But, I'm at that age, and I think Vegas always wonders, what is it going to be? And I wouldn't say it's going to be that much different than it currently is, but I think time will tell.
Yeah, and just before we get into it, every article you read about the future of Vegas and the problems of Vegas, they keep bringing up that the millennials aren't gambling. And what's your take on that?
Well, I mean, I think we do enjoy other things in life. So I understand, the change of nightclubs and nightlife. But, I mean, I don't really see the data in the past that shows people when they were 30 or 25 how much they were really gambling. So are we really not gambling, or is the data really not there to show, well, we're going to be gambling more when we're 35 or 40 when we have money to do that? I think time will tell.
Yeah, I also, my son is 25 or somewhere around there, I forget. And he said that the reason that they don't gamble is the games suck. That, the house edge is way too high. And his biggest complaint in Las Vegas is that they get treated like shit. That the dealers and the bosses just treat them horribly, that they're really rude, and so it's not a pleasant place to want to play, and so that's why they don't.
Your son,
anyway,
I would not call your son typical, Richard, in that he has listened to you for a long time about what is a good game and what isn't a good game. So most millennials have nowhere near his background. So,
yeah, that's true. That's true. But his complaint wasn't about his complaint was really more about the way they treat people in general than about the games themselves.
And he feels that they treat the younger people differently than they treat the older people.
Well, he feels they treat everybody pretty badly, but in particular the younger people, yeah.
All right, let's move it back to MG. Tell us about your introduction to intelligent gambling.
Sure. Well, I think as you all have said many times on this show, it's all about learning, educating, talking to people, and trying to, do some strategic thinking and thinking outside the box to find an edge. So when I was in college, I played collegiate tennis, and there were these two guys on our team that their goal at that time, this was the poker craze and everyone was playing online poker, was to make enough money to travel after they graduated around the country to go to every single baseball stadium. They were huge baseball fans, and that's what they wanted to do. So, throughout the 2 years I was with these guys as I was younger, I'm watching them, I'm seeing how they played, and there were so many great incentives back then. This was 2006, 2009. And, so there are systems similar to Rake Break. I don't know if you all know Rake Break. And I can go into details if you want me to. But there was Rake Break, and then they came to me and they offered me a deal. So this was the first time someone offered me a deal. And they wanted me to sign up for 8 or 9 online websites. This was through NetTeller back then. And deposit money, give them all my information, and I would get up to 15% of their winnings based on that agreement. So as they played on my name and I watched them play on my name, I'm learning, I'm developing, and they're doing really well. So they go from averaging $2 bets to $4 bets to $10 bets, which they said they never really do. So we ended the 8 accounts, and we were up about $1,750, and I had earned, over $200 doing absolutely nothing, and said, I think I'm onto something here. It didn't seem rocket science or playing basic strategy, so that was the first step into me learning how to be an intelligent gambler.
And so, what did you do from there?
Sure. So, from there, you start reading books, you start reading your books, you start reading Comp City, you start looking at things differently. And I will tell you, I was all about finding out interesting ways to make money. I got a thrill for that. So listening to the Australian story, I can tell you I used to look at American pennies and look at copper values, and I would hoard copper pennies and sort them. I had a machine that would sort them so that I could sell copper pennies to people who were willing to pay me 2 cents on the penny. So, there's so many different ways to make money and to make side gigs or side jobs. I will tell you the penny was not extremely profitable, but it was profitable. And then you look at other coins and things of that nature. But getting back to gambling, I always was trying to find the advantage. And fortunately for me, I was able to find that advantage in 2009. I can go into that, or I can go into total rewards and social rewards. Bob and Richard, is however you want me to continue the story.
Well, let's go into what happened in 2009 first, and then we'll get back to total rewards.
Sure. So in 2009, Bovada was running a bonus. And, I spent a lot of time searching the Internet trying to find bonuses that were lucrative. And I was fortunate enough to find a bonus. And this bonus, the initial deposit had to be $250, and there was a 4.9% convenience fee using your credit card. So just to give you a little bit of information, you deposited $250, and they gave you $250, so your bank account had $500. And the goal was for them is that you had to play through 40x of your total bankroll. So it was 20,000 coin in dollars. So as a first-time gambler, I'm nervous. I'm not sure, will this work? I want to make sure the math is correct. The math in my mind said this is a profitable entity. So as
yeah,
right? Does that sound good to you, Richard? Right.
Yeah.
So that
it is eliminating the variance. What could go wrong? Yes.
Eliminating variance. What could go wrong? So you start at $1, which is the minimum bet, and you play $1 a hand for 20,000 hands, and you say, "Is this working?"
Now wait a minute. Well, they allowed you to play blackjack?
They allowed you to play blackjack or 9-6 full pay jacks or better. That was an option.
Okay. All right.
Yes. So started playing and continued research. So on top of this bonus that was already profitable, Bovada had a bonus back then that if you played on the weekends, for every $2,000 coin in blackjack or video poker, they gave you an extra $10. So if you played all 20,000 coins for that bonus on the weekend, you get another extra $100 bonus where there was no deposit required, and you only had to play, I want to say it was 10 times through your bankroll, so $1,000 for that $100 extra bonus. On top of that, there was a bonus that if you played on Tuesday. So, you have this whole streamline of you play the bonus on the weekend, you get your $20,000 in, you take the bonus of $100, you play on Tuesday, you take your extra $10 bonus, and then every week you can do it over and over again. And they had 4 times you could do this bonus. So for 1 month, it was a great bonus. So that's how it started.
Now, you say this was in Nevada, so this is one of the Nevada casinos?
No. This is online casino. This was Bovada.com.
Oh, Bovada. I thought you said
Bovada.
Nevada. Okay.
No.
Okay, Bovada.
Bovada, excuse me. So this was online gambling. So, as I continued research and looking at Bovada, this was only good for 4 times, right? So that's not going to get me enough playing as I want to continue to try to increase money. So Bovada also had, if you looked on their website and found bonus codes and read their articles, they had a weekly promotion that was the exact same promotion as this one, but you deposit $100, they gave you $100, and you had to play 40 times through, so you had to play $8,000 coin in. So myself and one of my friends, who we do a lot of side gigs together, we own some sports tickets that we sell. We're excited that we've actually got the bid in, and we're going to become Las Vegas Raiders ticket owners. And we don't live in Vegas. We're nowhere near Vegas, but we look at it as a profitable entity. And so we're excited about that. But we started playing together on 2 accounts, his account and my account. I taught him how to play blackjack. I gave him the card, and we were computers. There was no emotions involved. You could play on your phone, so you could play when you're on the toilet, or you can play when you're in the car. You can play anywhere you want to. I mean, that's the greatness of technology, right? So we started playing in between 2009 and about 2015. I estimated that expected value, and Richard, I could ask you this question, and maybe you could give me some hindsight, but I had an expected value of about $100 a week with this weekly bonus. And the way I looked at it, and maybe you can help me, is $8,000 coin in, I'm supposed to lose about $40. So I expect $60 in profit right there. On top of the weekly bonuses, so I would get $40 in that weekend bonus. I would get $10 in that Tuesday bonus. So that was about $50, which I put at about $36. And then I also got $8 in cash every week from Bravada for playing $8,000 coin in. They just added that to your bank account. Now, the best thing about this bonus was if I lost that $200, the bonus was canceled, right? It was null and void. So if I played for $500 coin in and lost it all very quickly, I waited till the next week and I didn't have to go back and finish that bonus. So I had a hard time trying to figure out the math of how much expected value that increased it. I know there's something there, but I just didn't know how to quantify that number. Do you have any idea on how you would do that?
Well, yeah, sure. It's easy, right? If you bet the whole $500 in one bet and lose it, you've given up 0.5% of $500. And so you've actually done way better. It's one of those mind-bending examples of where it's actually better to lose than win. Well, I'm sorry, before I get, emails from people, if you bet the entire 500, you don't have money to split or double down, and so your negative expectation is actually greater. But the idea is still better, that it's better to lose than win, and maybe you would choose to play a game other than blackjack because of the splits and doubles, like baccarat or craps, especially if you can take odds on the craps. But, yeah, if you're willing to take the variance, then it's better to put it all out there and lose the bet. So did you start opening multiple accounts at that point, or what did you do then?
Well, that's the great question, right? So I had my friend and I had my account, and there was so much work going into depositing $100 a week into this out of the country website and dealing with banks, and I really didn't want to get a lot of our friends involved in that. So I can tell you, right around 2015, Bovada started looking at accepting Bitcoin for deposits. Now, only for deposits when it first started. So you couldn't withdraw out of Bitcoin, but you could deposit. And Bovada also, at the beginning, only allowed one cash out per month. So, I would play and you would look at it, okay, I'm up $600 and I should only be up $300. Should I cash out now, or should I play another week and not put it on to the next month? So there was a lot of thinking, a lot of strategy of trying to how to figure out when to take the money out of your bank account, because if I had a good week last week, that money was in my account. So if I lost that $100 and the $100 bonus, I would then have to play with my own money that I had won the previous week to finish out the bonus. That all changed in 2015 and 2016. So in 2015, Bitcoin was right around $450 a coin. You have a feeling where this conversation's going?
Yeah, I know where this is going.
So, it's all about looking at advantages, and look, we've got to get lucky, right? We've got to have variance. We've got to be on top of it. So my friend, who definitely was looking into Bitcoin and doing a lot of research into Bitcoin, one, it solved the problem of having to deposit with our own credit cards, right? I had opened a credit card that was just for gambling, so that it always had the $104.90 every week. And he said, we're not going to have to deal with the fees. We're not going to have to deal with the bank. So at that point, I was still below expected value in my mind, but I had $30,000 of my personal money profit, and he had made $10,000. So we split his account 50-50, and my personal account he let me have it 100%. So he said, let's put all the money into Bitcoin and just go for it. So we did that. So we put $40,000 into Bitcoin. He put it into his account, and he transferred me $30,000. And now we have the opportunity to say, let's see if I want to expand my horizons, expand the team, and try to make more money. The problem was at that point, you still could only cash out one check a month. So that definitely hurt our profitability.
Let me stop you a second. So are you, at this point, are you still only playing the one casino, Bovada?
I'm only playing Bovada. I've been playing it for years.
And were you looking around for other online casinos? Because, I mean, you know, it's a good thing at Bovada in your case. I mean, I would think you would look to other online casinos as well.
Well, if you look at it, Richard, I didn't. And, you know, I thought this bonus was great. I was playing so much because for the first few years I'm playing $1 and $2 a hand. You know, I was newly married. I'm trying to start my career. There were other things going on in the world, and I was so happy that I found a way to make money sitting on my ass doing nothing, right? So I did not look around to other casinos, not in depth, as this bonus was lucrative for me. So let me go back to where we were, and so we had deposited the Bitcoin money, and I started talking to my friends, and they knew that I was an analytical thinker, and I thought outside the box. And some of my friends said, you know, if you give me the money, I trust you. Let's go for it. And some people wanted to ask more questions, and some people wanted to make sure that it was legal and everything of that nature. And I live in Canada, so you know, at that point, online gambling was legal, still is legal, and so we started talking with friends. And the deal that I made, I can tell you, is I sent them about 50,000 or 0.05 Bitcoin, which was plenty to last the variant. If we lost all that, I would go back and I would send them more money, which happened frequently. But we started gambling, and I said I would play it all. All they had to do was make the deposit on their computer, and when it was time to withdraw once a month, they would withdraw to their check, and then we would split the profit. I took 75%. They took 25%. So
now let me ask you this.
Go ahead. Sure.
Were you using Coinbase, or what were you using as an intermediary?
Sure. So my intermediary was Bread Wallet, Coinbase, and as time goes on, Poloniex I've used as well. So
okay. Yeah, no, I had a friend whose account was closed for using Coinbase because Coinbase didn't allow transactions to online casinos.
I never had a problem with Coinbase. I will say most of my deposits were with Bread Wallet. I still use Bread Wallet. It's a great tool, but I will say if you lose your phone and you don't have your key code, you're going to be in trouble. So that's important. Yes. So, you know, as time went on, you know, my friends are seeing this account and seeing these checks going higher and higher. And every time that I got my 75% back, so we cashed out once a month, I put it always back into Bitcoin. I just kept putting it back into Bitcoin. So so that worked fairly well. But again, there was variance because I could only cash out once a month. Then 2016, early 2016 came, and Bovada allowed withdrawals to Bitcoin. I can tell you that changed everything. Friends who I trusted, friends who trusted me, and never had to go into their bank account. They never had to have all these checks. Everything went through Bitcoin. So we're depositing $100 a week into every single account. By this time, I had moved from $5 a hand to $10 a hand to $25 a hand to $100 a hand, because as time went on, Bitcoin started to go up. So I think in the beginning of 2016, it was at about 700. And then in 2016, maybe I think May, it was at 2,000. And then it just skyrocketed, right? So I can't say I made all this money gambling, but gosh, I got lucky with Bitcoin.
Yeah, and how many accounts did you have at this point?
Right. So once we got into mid-2016 and people did not have to use their own bank account except to withdraw their own money, I had up to 14 accounts. And you know, I could have had more, but I think it's trusting people, and I did get burned, and we'll talk about that, but it's trusting people and trying to do, you know, the best for those of your friends. And I can tell you it felt great having friends who did not make a lot of money, and I was able to give them tens of thousands of dollars, happily giving it to them, and they obviously helping me out. That really has changed their lives and changed their families' lives. So it was really a great partnership, and I think I could have taken 10%. I think I could have taken 15%. They really weren't doing anything but giving me access, but we agreed on 25%, and it was a deal that worked well for everyone.
Right. Now, the one thing I want to point out to people that there are many people who have actually really built their bankrolls with online gambling, and it's been the greatest gambling opportunity in my career. But I was going somewhere with that, and I lost my thread. Oh, I know what I was going to say. So one of the problems with Bovada is they certainly have stiffed a lot of people if they think that you were doing what you're doing. A lot of times they will just steal your money, but the edge is so high that most people just look at that as kind of a cost of doing business. Now, you have 14 accounts. If they see that any of those players are coming from the same IP address, then that could trigger them stealing your money. So how did you get around not having the same IP address on the 14 different accounts?
Great question, Richard. I love your question. It's a great question. So it is very interesting about IP accounts, and I can tell you when I first started and I had that problem, right? So it's a trial and error. So I called Bovada, and I said, my wife would like to open an account. Are we allowed to have two accounts in one house? Well, they said, yes, you can as long as she plays on her account and you play on your account. I said, not a problem. But we started getting calls about the IP address. So I had to look into this option. How do I move around this? Well, my phone did not have an IP address, at least connected with Bovada. So as long as I played on my phone and not on a computer, Bovada could never tell that it was the same phone playing on the accounts. To this day, that's still not a problem. So for the listeners out there, I know we're going to talk about some other current bonuses. That is an opportunity where you can use your phone, at least for right now, on multiple accounts.
I see, because on your phone, every time you open the app, it gives you a different IP address?
Well, I didn't even open the app. I just went to the website, right? I didn't download.
If you go to the website, every time you go, it gives a different IP address?
That is what I'm going to assume, as I've never had that problem.
Okay.
Yes. So,
but even if you want to use computers, there's enough profit here that you can get 14 different computers and use this one for show and this one for...
They would have to be in different locations with different, not necessarily different locations, but they would have to have different Internet access to have different IP addresses. You can't have them all on the same Wi-Fi. Right. And I'll just tell one thing for the listeners that if you have DSL, if you just unplug the router for 10 seconds and plug it back in, it resets the IP address. So that's one option. And you can, there are websites. You can't
take your computer into the bathroom. So, if you need to play while you're on the bathroom and money, it's easier with your phone, Richard.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yes. So, So
but it's harder to drop your laptop into the toilet than your phone. So there are advantages both ways.
But the amount of profit, like you said, Bob, it was worth the risk, right?
Yeah.
So we continue to play, and my friends are going crazy, and they think this is just amazing. And I'm always wondering, when is this bonus going to end? I can't be the only person. And this bonus was not publicly posted. You had to go into the website, find the code, read the articles. It was not publicly posted. And when was it going to end? I'll tell you, I saw an article about, people post articles about all different bonuses, and as you all discuss, some people get upset because that was their bonus and they didn't want people to talk about it. And I saw this gentleman post an article about this bonus, and he had found a way on a sister website of Bovada where you could deposit the $100 into a poker table, but sit out and then play with your bonus money. And when you got to a double down situation, leave the poker table, double down with the money, because in the article he said it's so hard to play through 40x coin in. So, I looked into this and...
Wait, I don't get what you mean, a double down situation at the poker table.
I'm sorry, double down at a blackjack table. So he's got $100 sitting at the poker table, and he's sitting out. And he's
at the blackjack table?
No, at the poker table. So
okay.
There's a sister website called Bodog that I'm sure you've heard of. And so you can sit out at the poker tables with your money on the table, so it's not in the cashier. So the system saw that you had no real money, because you have to gamble with real money before they let you start playing with the bonus money.
Yeah.
They want you to use right. So when there was no real money because it was at the poker table, they started letting him play with the bonus money. Now, once he got to a double down situation, he would exit out of the poker table, move the real money into the blackjack game, because you can exit out of a blackjack game mid-hand, log back in, double down. If he won, he would then leave the blackjack table, buy back into the poker table with his $100 plus his winnings, and play until the bonus had run up. So, I'm seeing this article and I'm thinking to myself, gosh, if this guy just played by the rules, nothing would happen. But right, but it is what it is. You can't control what happens. I'm sure there are people who probably aren't happy I'm talking on the phone, but this current bonus is no longer there, and it really was a great opportunity. So, long story short, about 3 months ago, Bovada came out with an email stating that this bonus that had been running since 2009 was coming to an end. And, this was probably, I would say, maybe September, October of 2017. So, I was very fortunate that I was depositing only $100, and some weeks I'm thinking to myself, I'm making so much more money with Bitcoin going up than the $100. But it was only $100, and it was still worth it to increase my bankroll. Of the 10 friends who were not part of the original 2, I actually had one friend who did not make any money. So as time went on and I was playing $100 a hand, just like you were talking about, Richard, it definitely didn't make me play for that long of a period in each week. But I had one friend who unfortunately did not make any money. We lost money on his account. But I had other friends who were making tens of thousands of dollars. So I was fortunate enough, and as my wife and I discussed, how do we get the money out of Bitcoin, right? How often do we pull it out and use it? So we had agreed that once my account reached $1 million, every week I would start withdrawing whatever was over $1 million U.S., right? I live in Canada, but I was looking at it in U.S. because Bovada was on U.S. dollars. So I could withdraw $25,000 a day with Poloniex. And you can also buy gold and silver. So I was buying gold. I was cashing out $25,000 just to make my wife happy and make sure that I have enough money. So I do have a lot of gold in my safety deposit box, I'll tell you that right now. And I do love coins, as we talked about earlier, growing up. So, I was fortunate enough that I've cashed out over $1 million. It's about 1.3. And I will tell you now, as Bitcoin has gone down, it's going to be a while before I cash out again. So Bitcoin definitely has hurt me, and I think it's about $7,000 now. But if you look at it at the grand scheme, gosh, I've made so much money, and Bitcoin has helped me more than the gambling. But it all started with thinking outside the box, looking at errors, looking at how to make money. So that's the Bovada story.
So you're keeping, even after this sort of huge rise and huge fall, you're still keeping the bulk of your Bitcoin?
Well, that Bitcoin that was at $1 million now is probably at $400,000 in my account. But there are other bonuses that I'm currently using. There are.
Okay, so you're still playing.
Oh, I'm still playing.
Ah, okay.
It's just different bonuses that are still active.
Yeah,
Once Bovada ended, I had to start looking for what's my next game, what's my next advantage.
Right. And I mean, if you also, with the benefit of hindsight, if you just look at when you had your 14 accounts sitting there, rather than just playing Bovada, if you'd been playing at 10 or 20 or 30 different casinos all at that same time, your bankroll would have grown even more, although what you won in those casinos, I'm sure, would have paled in comparison to what you made in Bitcoin.
Right.
So
all right.
There was something about going to Vegas in 2000, going to Vegas with some high roller that happened to you?
Sure. Well, let me go to, if you don't mind, Richard, let me go to the Total Rewards, Social Rewards
okay, yeah.
story, because I'm sure a lot of listeners, and I'm not sure if you all ever saw it, it's definitely not a extremely lucrative deal, but I'd say maybe around 2012, Total Rewards was trying to match the My Vegas game for MGM, and they wanted you to post things to your Facebook group, post things to your Twitter account for social media on their end, and they would give you points that you could cash out for reward credits. Had you all heard about these things?
Yeah, I had heard of those type of things, yeah.
So, it was great when it first started. The first day you could get about $10 worth of reward credits or 1,000 reward credits, but it really was only about $3 an account. Well, I'm talking to my brother, and I'm talking to my nephew, and he loves thinking outside the box like I do, and I give him math problems and all different things, and I said, well, here's an interesting philosophy. I said, if it works with my account, why do I not create 100 Facebook accounts or 100 Twitter accounts and get enough fake friends, because there were Facebook groups just about getting friends for My Vegas, that I could do this with Social Rewards. Now, there was a lot of... Are you
Russian?
I'm not Russian.
Okay.
No, not Russision. So I started doing this, and I wanted to see if I had a account with, a random name, Robert Smith, and I had earned $20. Could I transfer that money on Robert Smith's Social Rewards account into my Total Rewards account and get the money? So I tried it, I waited, and it worked. So then I said, well, I'm not going to spend my time clicking buttons for 10 cents a click. It's just crazy. But I had a nephew who was very interested in it. So I worked with him, and I showed him exactly what you had to do with all these fake accounts, and he loved it. And again, I gave him 25%. So I had a nephew who was 12 years old at the time, who after 1 year made $2,500 and earned me $10,000 in reward credits. So, my wife and I would go to Vegas, and we had so much money to spend in Total Rewards properties. And I think, it's, again, thinking outside the box, right? It's thinking differently, as everybody was probably using Social Rewards and getting their $10 for that first week. But could I exploit the system? And I remember getting an email from Social Rewards because they had found their glitch, and all that went away after about a year. And then I got an email maybe 6 months later that after giving out $5 million in Social Rewards, Total Rewards points, they were closing business and separating with Total Rewards. And, I'm just smiling and thinking, I had to have something to do with that. Because of that $5 million, I took $10,000 of it. So
right. Well, I mean, so there are people who think just like you do, but rather than employing 12-year-old child labor, they create bots, and the bots you just crank away, and make a considerable amount of money.
Well, I will say the one thing I did with Social Rewards is I did not have I never cashed out more than $100, and I waited for that one account to finish before another account started, right? I didn't want to overexert saying, how is he getting 5 cash outs at one time? So I didn't need extreme high number of accounts that a bot could do. And, my nephew was so happy to have something to do and make some money. So it worked out well for us.
Sure. Win-win. Corrupt your 12-year-old child labor laws. But hey,
I like to think he made more than minimum wage, right?
Right.
All right, make sure your nephew is listening to our show. So he seems like one of our kind of guys. Before we go on and deal and hear about your first trip to Vegas with a high roller, we're going to do a few commercials.
Great.
The South Point has more than 10,000 games, returning more than 99%. This is more than anybody else has. In April, the promotion of the month involves free buffets. Earn $300 between 3 a.m. and 1 p.m. Monday through Thursday, and earn a free lunch buffet. Earn 600 points during that same period, and earn both a free lunch buffet and a dinner buffet. If you fail to earn the 600 points prior to 1 p.m., but you do earn it prior to 8 p.m., you earn a free dinner buffet, but not the lunch buffet. You print the vouchers at the kiosk when earned. You may use coupons for lesser meals, such as either a lunch or a dinner coupon may be used for breakfast. Also, you may redeem as many coupons as you have at one meal, should you have a whole bunch of friends you wish to treat. At videopoker.com, it's the best place to play lots of games. If you sign up for the gold membership, $8.95 a month or $79.95 a year, this allows you to get correction on most of the games. The game of the week is 10-play Dream Card. Dream Card is a 10 coin per line game where periodically on the deal you receive a Dream Card for which the best available card is given to you prior to the deal. If you think the machine has given you the second best card, which has been known to happen, you may switch the Dream Card to whatever you like. The strategy doesn't change for this game, and it always adds some EV. So if you have the choice between playing the same pay schedule in either the regular mode or the Dream Card mode, the Dream Card mode is always the more profitable play. It does have higher variance as well. All right, we're talking to the Millennial Gambler. There was, your notes you said you had your first trip to Vegas with a high roller. What was that all about?
Yeah, so one of my friends who is helping me write the book, The Millennial Gambler, I had never been around, I didn't grow up with a lot of money, and I had never been around a lot of money and people who can just spend money. So, when I went to school in the Southeast, there were people who had more money at this private school, and so I went for March Madness about 2015, and he told me, he's like, you come with me, and I'm going to show you a good time. Now, I can tell you this person was not on my Bovada team. I would not trust him with money, but he was a lot of fun to be around. So checking into the Wynn, having a Rolls Royce pick us up, going into this 3,000 square foot room with huge windows and a massage table, the butler service, watching him play $300 a hand of baccarat, and then later on having me go to 2 other hotels that he was checking in and driving around in this I just wanted to stay in the Rolls Royce all day. It was the most amazing experience because it really showed me the difference between watching somebody lose $100,000 in 2 nights than, sticking to the plan, sticking with the math. But for him, he could lose $100,000, right? He was in the junk business and the oil business. But I had never really been around that type of money where you can really do whatever you want to do. And it really was an amazing experience. And I think it taught me a lot about trying to stay grounded because, I have come into a lot of money with this gambling. But it's important to make sure that, I have this bankroll for the rest of my life because I'll probably never get a bonus that well in the future. So it really was a great experience.
So let me ask you, have you branched out into any other forms of gambling? Do you do any live gambling? Have you learned to count cards or anything else? Or are you strictly doing online gambling?
Sure. So, yes, I've always loved gambling. I've always loved going into casinos. And I've read the Blackjack Blueprint, which was card counting for a part-time gambler. I'm not sure if you all have read that book, but it was a very good beginner's book for me, and I have started.
Yep, it's a book I recommend often.
Okay, great. So it really was a great start. I read that. I read Max Rubin's Comp City, and look, it's another way to make money. Now, I will tell you, when my friends were calling me during that year that I had 12 accounts, I did not go into a casino that entire year. I was playing enough blackjack that I did not need to play any more blackjack. But I have started counting cards. I have learned the strategy of how to become a 7-star the best way possible. I'm sure if you want me to come back on another time, I can happily share that information because there is a systematic mathematical way to do 7 stars the cheapest way possible. And that involves video poker, and I have started looking into video poker and playing that well. Using apps and making sure that I play 100%.
We need to talk about something that's really important, and that is because I know a lot of our listeners are going to start combing the Internet for Internet casinos to play. And it is a minefield. There are quite a few casinos that will rip you off for, it's worse than Indian casinos in the United States. If they want to, they can just keep your money. So are there any websites that you use that, A, point out the blacklisted casinos that you should avoid, or B, websites that will mediate for you if you have a beef with a casino, and C, websites that you use that point out where the best bonuses are?
Well, there definitely are websites that point out the best bonuses. So you can look at them, but just because it points out the best bonus, I can give you, for instance, Bovada will give you a 200% bonus on a $1,000 deposit, and that looks great, but you have to read the rules. You have to look into it because nobody's going to share that information. You have to know the math to say, is this profitable? And that 200% sign-up bonus is terrible. It is a terrible bonus, but it looks great because it's 200%. I have not done much research into accounts or websites that have taken money. I've had friends that have, messed up accounts or taken advantage of what I did with them, but I have never been in that situation. I will tell you, Bovada has held about $4,700 in one of my accounts that was connected to the friend who screwed me over. But,
What happened there? Tell us that story. How did he quasi screw you over?
Sure. So it actually goes hand in hand with your IP address question. So, as I talk to my friends, and some of my friends gamble and some of my friends don't gamble. My best partners have been the ones that don't gamble and don't want to get into gambling. But he asked a lot of questions, and he liked to gamble, and we travel a lot, and we still travel a lot. I'm still friends with him. But he wanted to know how this was working. And as time went on, he finally said to me, I'm going to take back over my account, and I'm going to start, opening up other accounts as well. So I said, I just want to let you know that, you're more than welcome to do that. That is your account. I'm not faulting you there, but there are things that you don't know about, and I'm leading you to the promised land, right? I'm giving you tens of thousands of dollars that you're making right now. But if you want more, that's fine, but I will never make a deal with you again with online gambling. So we went our separate ways in the online field, and, a couple weeks later, all his accounts were closed because he was using his computer and didn't understand how the IP address was set up. And unfortunately, one of his accounts was kind of somehow related with another account that I had. I don't know if it was – I'm not sure how that was. I don't know if it was somehow withdrawn into the same Bread Wallet account or how they found out about it. But it held $4,700 of my money. But, I think it really shows, let's not be greedy, right? I mean, we've got a great thing going. We made an agreement. We worked together. But, greed is a dangerous thing, and it hasn't ruined our friendship, but it definitely ruined our future for business together.
Well, I've had similar things happen over the course of my career, and one of the things I learned is that, some people you can be friends with, but you can't do business with, and vice versa. And, some people you can trust with your money, but not around your wife, or, you know what I mean? It's just, some people you can trust with different things than others. That's all. And that kind of thing has certainly happened to me, where I teach somebody something under the condition that they not share it or do it on their own or whatever, and then, suddenly it's, they decide to go out and do it exactly that.
Right. Very good. Well, I mean, I think
so it sounds like you haven't used any particular websites to aid you in these things.
I have not used many websites to aid me. No, I have not. It's really been myself, and I'm fortunate enough that I'm able to keep things quiet. And obviously this bonus has ended. There are other bonuses out there, but this one that was so lucrative has ended, and now I wanted to share that with this podcast, as I've learned so much through you all. Just, thinking and having those conversations just make you think differently. So I really appreciate all you all do.
Oh, thank you. Well, two websites I just want to mention are, number one, Mike Shackelford, the Wizard of Odds. He claims that if you sign up for an internet casino through the Wizard of Odds website and have a problem, that they will go to bat for you. That doesn't mean that they're definitely going to get your money back, but at least they will get involved in trying to get it back. But if you do something stupid, like you sign up for 5 accounts through the same IP address, you probably are not going to win that case, and he's probably not going to have a lot of sympathy for you, although I don't want to speak for him. Second, there's a website called The Pog, P as in Peter, O-G-G, and the guy from The Pog has been on our show in the past, and they also will act as an intermediary to try to settle these disputes with casinos. So, those are two, and if you Google online casino blacklist, you will get tons of sites that have casinos that you should just not try to sign up for because of their bad reputation.
Well, great. Well, I think the last question I really have for you all is, there are some bonuses out there that are one-time bonuses that I think are very lucrative, and you can win a few $100s risk-free. And, you know, I'm willing to share that information today for the listeners, as you all have given a lot back to me, if that's something you think would be of interest.
Sure. Yeah, why not?
All right, great. Well, hopefully everybody turns their volume up. So on Bovada, and you had asked me if I had done other betting. I looked into any bonus, right? So there are 2 one-time bonuses for sports betting. And if you go online and you look at different websites, usually you have to play 10x or bet 10x the bankroll. Well, for some reason, Bovada currently, and hopefully we all get this in before it changes, is at 5x. And you can deposit $1,000 and get $500. And what I have done is, it's great for March Madness or college football. I would go on and bet both sides. And you bet both sides, and you play only with your money. Do not make bets with the bonus money. The bonus money will hurt you, and you won't make as much. But as long as you're playing with your money, you're going to cash out anywhere between $180 and $200 plus depending on what level you are on Bovada, because there's some points you get based on your tier status. So that is a great bonus right there. It's one time only per account. There's another bonus, the same exact method, except instead of $1,000 and $500, it's $500 and $250. So the return is half. But hopefully this will get everybody listening started. I will say there are rules, and if things don't pan out, you know, don't email me and let me know that you know, you said to do this and it didn't work, because it doesn't want you to offset bets.
I was just going to say, I think it's a terrible idea to make offsetting bets in the same place. And that is the kind of thing, if you want to have any hope of getting future bonuses there or having any future there, I would not do that. But you could accomplish the same thing by finding another sports book that offers a bonus and making the opposing bet at the other sports book.
Or having 2 Bovada accounts, right?
Or having 2 Bovada accounts. I should also point out that for anybody seriously into sports betting, Bovada has very, very low limits. So this is a low roller play. Any other free money you want to give to our listeners?
Well, I think that's it for today. I'll have to come back another time and then find another bonus to share with our team here.
I also want to point out that there are a lot of online casinos. I mean, really, the best of them will not take players from the United States. So Bovada is one that will take players from the U.S., and there are other online casinos that will, but you're much better off in, you know, Canada or the UK or somewhere else in terms of online bonus hunting.
Thank you very much. Thank you, MG. Thank you, Richard. Go out and hit a royal flush, everybody. Good day.